Peace, 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 power, soul, and activation. This is the Next Nuclear Radio Show. We are live back on PodBean. Again, this is the Next Nuclear Radio Show, U.N.O.N.C, hashtag FUTURTARIANS, hashtag U.N.O.N.C. Again, we are extending the mind, bodies, and souls of our people. Again, extending the mind, bodies, and souls of the activated mind, bodies, and souls dealing with the 200 rising. Again, we are ascending into these upper dimensions. We are gradually taking would you say major feats or major growth by way of our collaboration and our extension of our mind, bodies, and souls due to our alignment to focus and our alignment to drive into the future. So again, this is the Next Nuclear Radio Show. I am your host, Reyes Razus, a nuclear leader amongst other leaders and host here in U.N.O.N.C FUTURTARIANS moving forward. So again, this is the Next Nuclear Radio Show. I'm bringing forth the next nuclear conversations and ideas to extend the mind, bodies, and souls of our people. So again, we're live. We are live. It's Saturday night, 6:44 p.m. PST and 8:44 CST. So again, we are going live here on PodBean. It's a lot of energy coming down to the planet. I'm going to share this all over as much as I can. Had a late start, having to deal with all this physical stuff, but we moved past all of that. That's not going to stop us from moving forward and bringing forth another great show, another great conversation by way of us FUTURTARIANS and us activated mind, bodies, and souls moving forward. So yes, yep, we're going to keep extending the mind, bodies, and souls of our people, and pushing forth into the fourth dimension, and again, the fourth dimension acting as that platform that we jump off of to go into extended intelligence and extend further into omni standing and mega standing, what we have to do to continuously be in alignment and be these multidimensional activated beings. So again, I'm sharing this all over right now. Now going live. Yep. So with that being said, yes, moving forward with today's topic, extended soul extension. Extended soul extension. Extended soul extension. So furthermore, again, like I made a couple previous podcasts, especially this one particular called Soulology 1111. So again, we're talking about the extension or the extended soul extension by way of, again, the ones walking with ones coming together. The ones walking with ones coming together, and again, extending the bigger picture. We extend the bigger picture by again doing what was totally not expected of us, which was to come together and bring forth the Solargy, our Solargy, which is our conglomerate or our collaboration of our souls coming together. So that soul energy or that Solargy ultimately is what is causing this extended activational shift, or this extended soul extension of the activated beings, or the golden beings who are activated in these times. Because again, there are a lot of golden beings, but not everybody of the golden race is activated or has become activated or will become activated, because again, everyone serves their purpose. Everyone has a role that they must play here, and some have a more extended role in the near future, in the further future. So that's who we are. Again, the extended soul extension happens because of our discipline, our self-discipline, and again, our ability to again move past the worldly things, the people, places, and possessions of this world. So because we've managed to move past a lot of that, and again focus our minds, our bodies, and our souls on the next thing, which is activation, which has allowed us to become activated in a fourth dimensional or in an upper dimensional mind state in the past. So we have an upper dimensional and future mindset that is outside of, well, in so many words, it's advanced for the time that we are in, or it's really advanced for the actual place, the time and place that we're in, because again, a lot of people are still of this time caught up in history. They're caught up in information. That's why we've extended as activated souls into further extension, because we've tapped into activation. We tapped into the actual intel, which is activated. Because we've been able to pull in the intel, we've been able to extend forward. We begin to again grow and ultimately inspire others, and again, inspire the minds of other 200 rising, or again, the other, in the future, we will ultimately continuously, be the progenitors of that, continuous, ignition, or that continuous activation of our children's children and so forth, and other, golden beings of the future 200 rising, or the future collective that we ultimately, enforce, or again bring forth by way of our collaboration and our extension, mind, body, and souls as activated men and activated women. So moving forward, the only way for this to happen is, like I said, like passing of the torch. We have to keep doing what we're doing, and the right ones will gravitate over here. That's how souls will extend, because other souls will keep moving ahead, while others will be inspired to move forward, because they're seeing other souls extend forward to the future. They're like, well, wait a minute, what is it that these brothers and sisters are tapped into, that ultimately, it has them in that different mind frame than most people. And again, people are going to notice that again, we are shifting minds. We are shifting conversations, shifting the focus on what really matters. What really matters is, again, the evolution of the newborns, our continuous evolution, and the evolution of our newborns that come after us, fostering in, or bringing forth that activational influence to have them, would you say, way more advanced, and would you say activated at an early age. And once that happens, that ultimately is going to bring forth, what you say, a shift. Because again, it took me till I was 19 years old to become activated. It's taking other people even longer than that to become activated, to the point where again, we have come together and seen what our purpose was, and what we can do, and what needs to be done, and how we are going to shift the world forward. So with that being said, extended soul extension, by way of, again, the activated mind, bodies, and souls of the 200 rising. Again, U.N.O.N.C, Futurtarians moving forward into, would you say, the eternal bounds of mental collectivity, mental extension. And we are able to extend collectively by being able to again move forward and extend into the what you say, future rays coming down to the planet. So furthermore, we're going to keep moving and keep extending the mind, bodies, and souls of the 200 rising. And furthermore, again, with that being said, it's only going to make itself more and more prevalent to the ones who are truly in alignment, because not everybody's going to get this message. Not everybody's going to fully grasp what our objective is, or not. I wouldn't even say objective. What our purpose is, what we have to do, what why everything is taking place the way it's taking place, by way of our alignment. Why things have began to speed up. Yeah, because again, things are beginning to speed up, because again, there is no more stagnant energy when you have all these, and moving forth into a purposeful direction, which is again, for a purposeful reason for us to extend, is to again, move past all of the mindsets, all of the past information that has caught us in that loop. So we've moved forward and we have extended. Our souls have been able to extend because our minds were able to let go of the information, and let go of all of that didn't really serve us, or didn't really benefit us in the future, because again, all of that dead weight allowed us to extend, or basically ascend a little bit. We've ascended mentally, but then physically, that's going to follow by way of, again, that continuous alignment and focus. So again, we are Futuritarians. We're bringing forth, we just say, the next nuclear conversations, next nuclear ideas, and again, to raise the minds of the ones, raise the minds of the ones, next, now, and even further into the future. So that's why our souls keep extending, because again, we're building, and we are exclusively coming into what you said, that council. We're counseling by coming together, and our solargy, that is what you say, opening up possibilities that wouldn't be able to happen if we were individuals. Because again, you can accomplish more when you have a council mindset. That's why we've been able to extend into that solar extended mind frame and way of living. Because again, nothing, we're not dealing with spiritual people. We're not dealing with the spiritual energies that are on the planet, where we're focused on, again, getting right with our soul, getting right with, again, having a stronger connection with our higher selves by that portaling 101. And our portaling 101 ultimately is, again, we talked about solar intelligence, our solar intelligence being able to, again, communicate, or constantly be like that one-way transmitter, or that one-way receiver that is pulling in, but ultimately pushing out intelligence, that ultimately is letting our higher selves know that, again, things are moving accordingly to plan. Things are moving accordingly to the grand plan that has been set forth, as far as the planet moving forward, as far as what must happen for us to allow for that activational movement, extension of the planet and of our souls. So again, today I have with me again Brother AF1. Check him out on his channel, again, Futuritarians Activation channel, and check out his latest PODBEAN podcast as well. Futuritarians Activation channel on YouTube, Brother AF1, AFONE on Facebook. So whenever you want to chime in, jump in, do so. So yes, this is the Next Nuclear Radio Show. Again, bringing forth the next nuclear ideas and conversations to move forth the planet, to move forth, most importantly, the golden race, the activated golden race, in these times. So, yes, today's topic is extended soul extension. Extended soul extension, which means ultimately, like I said before, our souls, not our spirits. We know ourselves to be soul energy, and soul synchronized soul particles, or light particles, coming down here and activating the planet. So we are these light beings. Whether you heard the word light beings and and all other names dealing with light, but ultimately that's soul, the soul force of soul energy, that soul what you say, conglomeration, or that soul synchronized force that has basically impacted the world and moved it out of the period of being stagnant. And that's why everything must extend and ascend, and our souls will ultimately continuously evolve by way of extension. It'll keep extending, because again, it will only come into more collectivity with other soul beings, with other soul beings that will ultimately be coming, like we always say, once walking with ones, but each one has a soul. We're not dealing with zeros, because again, a lot of these zeros out here, they don't have souls, or their souls are, like Brother A1 mentioned, their souls are dim. They have dim souls, and they can't be activated. So when your soul is not vibrant, or ignited, or activated, then it won't be able to what you say, activate all three, the mind, body, and soul. So, again, like if you're not able to, what you say, open up yourself to these ever extending, or these ever continuous coming light rays coming to the planet, or just in general, knowing who we are as spiritual beings, again, it makes it easier for you to, really see what you have to do, because we have been able to accept our roles. We have all have our own roles here, whether you can see your role at this point or not. But we, as golden beings, or the council moving forward, everything has to, fall into place by way of accepting your role. And when you do that, when you're able to accept your role, then you extend mind, body, and soul. Your soul, most importantly, is the power source that, what you say, activates the body and the mind. So again, that initial soul intelligence, that soul energy of us moving forward, is only going to amplify, only going to extend, because we are, what you say, pulling in more and more of this extended energy, or this intel that's coming from beyond the sun and from within the sun. The more that we keep on pulling from that source, knowing that that's the primary source amongst other sources, knowing that we keep on pulling from those sources, the more that we will again, evolve into a high dimensional state. And that dimensional state that a lot of people are seeing us evolve into, a lot of people, they can't take it because they're accustomed to seeing us in, what you say, our past selves. Again, most people who are still seeing us in our past selves is because they're still caught up in past and present. Because we're moving in the future, again, people can't really, see us for what we really are, because the future is so, what you say, in flux. The future is so promising for a lot of us moving forward that, again, even if we told you, what's going to happen, a lot of people won't believe us, or again, they won't be able to omni stand and mega stand as well as believe us, because again, they are caught up in information. They're caught up in the past and present, and again, anything of the future that is being brought forth in this time right now is only going to be seen as, a joke or laughed at, because again, most people are not going to see it. The only way for the only way for people to be able to really understand is when it's last minute. Every time that there is as an incident or an event that takes place on the planet, everything happens so suddenly that people have not, they didn't have time to adjust, or they didn't have time to basically prepare themselves for the future. So that's why we're always aligning ourselves, our mind, bodies, and souls with the future things to come, because everything in the future is ultimately going to, bring us into a more higher dimensional state of thinking and seeing. So go ahead, brother F1.
Yeah, dealing with the last minute, I'm going to touch on what you had said. Dealing with the last minute, being around people that's not activated. Now, when you're dealing with the future and you're dealing with being around people that's not activated, when you have a situation that's at hand and needs to be dealt with at that particular time, at that particular point, then you have to have people around you that can think faster than the average person. So going back to up here in Minnesota, when we was dealing with the George Floyd case, dealing with the George Floyd case and dealing with National Guard, dealing with curfew, dealing with checkpoints, all that stuff. It's like anybody who was around us, we wasn't dealing with that, because our minds are moving faster than the average minds. Like, we know where to go. See, everybody's not worthy of knowing where to go when stuff like that happens. When stuff like that happens, when it gets to a pinnacle point, have to move fast, think quick, being extended, the soul. And even when the souls are, even when you're dealing with people that have souls and their light is dim, it's, as above, so below. So you're dealing with, I always use a flashlight with batteries as an example. When that flashlight starts to get dim, then the light just starts to, it's there, but the light's dim. It starts to move at a certain pace. The pace is a dim pace. It's not at full capacity of activation. Using the flashlight as an example, dealing with this three-dimensional realm. See, that's why every time that we come on these live streams and we're talking to people have to understand that there is nothing else. There is nothing else dealing with the future. You can go back to the past, you can go back, but what's being extended? Is your soul being extended? Is your mind being extended? Right? Is the people around you being extended? So when you're dealing with stuff like that, you have always realized that everything has to move forward. Your mind has no limitations. There's no limitations on the mind. Now, what's the big agenda out here is to limit your mind. Limit it. You're either being extended, or you're either extendable or expendable. Like the brother Zareas says, extendable, or are you just gonna fade into the wayside mentally, dealing with what's going on in this three-dimensional realm, moving forward. The soul the soul can be ignited. Just like when they say pouring fuel into the fire. When you have a fire and then somebody pours gasoline on it, it ignites. It ignites more. It's the same way with your soul. You have to keep it moving forward. You can't be worried about what's going on in the news, what's going on CNN, what's going on, in your communities if it has nothing to do with your children moving forward. That's just reality. Because if it has nothing to do with that, then why are you even focused on that? I mean, you can be focused on whatever you want to be focused on, whatever floats your boat, but why are you focused on that when it has nothing to do with being extended mentally and moving forward, moving the people around you forward? Because if you can't do that, then what's the purpose of you even opening up your mouth and talking? There is no purpose. Moving forward, dealing with what? The fourth dimension. The first dimension from the third dimension is the fourth dimension. That's why teachers always talk about the fifth dimension, because they can't tap into the fourth dimension. So they talk about the fifth dimension because what's that? That is a mental crutch, because they know they can't tap into fourth. So they skip a dimension and go to the fifth dimension. Whatever floats your boat. If you think that you are up in the fifth dimension and you're pulling from that, whatever floats your boat, whatever's fine. But your videos, what comes out your mouth, the people that you surround yourself with, that's always going to be the standing point of if you're there or not. And going back to the code system, unlocking the code system. The number code system is always going to be out here, and it's always going to be somebody that's going to come from the future to unlock that. So nothing can be hid no more going into the age of Aquarius. Being extended. You're either extendable or expendable. And people have to sit down and think, like, what are you doing if you teaching and you talking about chakras, how everybody needs to eat their food. What else they talk about, Zarez? They talk about sage, incense. Okay, that's all fine and dandy, but what about right? What's the other one? Astral projection, flat earth,
Tarot cards. You haven't mentioned already.
Tarot cards, right? Tarot cards, Christianity, all type of religions. But see, one thing where they stray away from, they'll say so, but they don't stress it. That's the meta. That's the loop process. They'll say so, but they don't stress the soul because they're already caught in the loop process. Subconsciously or consciously, it doesn't matter. Everything's being revealed going into the age of Aquarius. Dealing with the extendables and the expendables.
Yep, dealing with the extendables versus the expendables. So we have a person, Lotus Pod, asked the question. So thoughts on humans downloading light codes / light languages? Well, from our understanding, or from our understanding and mega standing, when it comes to humans being able to download light codes, they've only been able to receive partial light codes. They've only been able to, they can tap in partially. But again, you guys have to actually understand and mega stand that because you guys are the created, ultimately, being able to fully tap in is not in your calling cards because you guys are of the created. This might come as a shocker to you all, but we are not of the created as activated mind, bodies, and souls. We are not of the created. We are the extended soul energy. So if you didn't notice that or realize that, then that's exactly who we are moving forward. So extended soul, or Brother AF1, if you want to add to that, you can add to that too as well.
Yeah, dealing with the light codes. The reason why they tap in the light codes because the light codes, all right, light codes are artificial. Like you could turn the light on. You could turn the light on in your kitchen. That's a light. That's an artificial light. Now you're dealing with solar codes when you're dealing with the sun, and you're dealing with solar codes. Solar codes are right. The ray codes, the ray codes. They're That's what they are. They're codes. It's just like when you play a video game and you want to put your cheat code in. You put the code in and you start doing stuff that's not normal to that game. That's the same way with the sun. See, they're tapped in the light code because the light code is artificial. See, when you're dealing with parasites, parasites are connected to artificial light and solar light. They're attracted to both. So that's why they tap into the light codes, because that's artificial light. That's why a lot of them represent lunar energy. They represent the lunar energy, the sun beaming off the moon. The lunar energy, without the sun, without the sun, the moon will have no light. So what's that? That's second. That's not first. That's second energy. You're pulling in second energy off the moon. You're not pulling in the first energy coming from the sun, coming from them light codes that's beaming down through the atmosphere and beaming down through. And beaming down through the atmosphere. So that's why they can, exactly, you're right. They can tap into the light codes because you got light and then you got solar. What's solar? Solar power. Dealing with magnetism, dealing with magnetic power, solar power, and water power. So that's why they could tap into the light energy, but they can't tap into the solar.
Ooh, and come and think about that. Now that you said that, when it comes to light itself, light is created because of a conglomerate of rays being focused onto a direction in, like a laser beam. So when you have all of the rays, aka the radiance energy, being focused into a particular point in direction, then you have the light. That light is secondary, but you have to focus on the actual what created that light, what caused that light, and ultimately the actual radiance, and so forth. Us being able to tap into the actual the soul proprietor energy of that soul energy that ultimately is linked to almost to the eternal gateways, the eternal stargates that actually lie beyond our very own sun. So again, there are suns and stars bigger than our very own star that have so much energy coming from within them, and ultimately radiance in general. That actual radiance is still being felt right now. We could tap into the Stargate of Sirius A and Sirius B and all the other ones and so forth. But again, knowing that is possible, that shows that our souls can extend. We can extend because we have soul. When it comes to all the other life forms on the planet, that they're just here for a purpose, only to again aid in the rising and extension of the activated minds, the activated golden race. So moving forward, again, the extended soul extension is only happening by way of, again, our solargy and that conglomerate energy that we continuously pull in and radiate, because again, we are suns too, so we're ultimately radiating the same energy that we're pulling in from these upper and outer dimensional gateways and so forth. So again, even when we don't realize it, we're channeling it and pulling in intelligence. So by forth of, again, our openness and our oneness, that's why we're continuously being fed and continuously being able to extend further into the, the upper and outer dimensional, the upper and outer dimensions mentally, but then we're able to extend further in this 3D realm. But ultimately, again, like I was saying before, we have been able to receive the mind frame of a upper dimensional being, while there are people who are in the third dimensional realm right now who still have the mind frame of that carnal, that primitive, humanist or that humanist type of mind frame. That's why, again, we're moving forward as these multidimensional light beings, even in this present past time, because again, our minds are not limited by the humanist ideas and all of the weights that would stop you from being able to tap into the future. That's why we've been able to extend our mind, body, and soul further, because again, we realize that because our minds are what you say outer dimensionally in the past, that's why we know that this shit is real, because again, we have the mind frame of a upper dimensional being caught in the past, if that makes sense. And because we have that extended mind frame, we can move forth and navigate this basic realm. This is like, the demo or story, but like level 1. And we've been able to extend even further throughout level 1. And we're going to keep moving on that one frequency, because again, level 1 might be, to certain many, level 1 is only like a basic level, but no, level 1 is actually where we're going, because level 1 will only keep on, leveling us up on the one frequency. And again, we'll be able to extend mind, body, and soul further because again, we're operating on that one frequency, but ultimately being on one accord. And again, level one, as far as how I picked it up and how I perceive it, is just again, that continuous, eternal, one mind frame that we all have to be able to level up, level one, leveling up on the one, leveling up mind, body, and soul on that one frame, that one mind frame, that of being a part of the council or being able to again extend further in this realm, and ultimately because we are again living in multidimensional realms or being multidimensional beings. Again, we're going to keep extending and growing, would you say, simultaneously up and out dimensionally. So furthermore, with this next nuclear conversation, the next nuclear ideas that we bring forth, it's only going to be, would you say, put more fire under the teachers, under the students, because again, what are they all doing? Again, what are we doing if we're not extending mind, body, and soul for, or again, aiding in the extension of the mind, body, and soul of the newborns? But most importantly, realizing why we talk about soul, because again, you've mentioned, Brother AF1, that when it comes to these spiritual cats and unconscious cats, they the word soul is like a taboo word. Like, ooh, soul. What is soul? Everyone's talking about spirit, but again, when it comes to soul, there isn't really any would you say a focus on that, because again, a lot of people think that the soul is foreign. Everybody that is caught up in the information side of what you say this world, they only understand and can only, would you say, register to the spirit. And then when it comes to soul, again, like I said, that soul burns them.
Yep, they go back to deities. All these teachers go back to some type of deity. I just seen a teacher on the internet, which was a female, and then she was talking about the dragon people. Like whenever you start pulling to those old books, those old doctrines, and you start talking about the dragon people, it's just now I'm like, why are you worried about them? You worried about the dragon. You worried about the serpent for what? You need to be worried about activating your soul. If you had an activated soul, you won't be talking about dragons and deities and serpents and all that stuff, because that don't even mean nothing no more for the future. That shit's old. All that stuff is old. It's getting played out. Now that we back from the future, we putting everything on the forefront. So that's why these teachers don't come over here, because they understand what we're saying is reality. You pulling out old books, old doctrines, old testimonies, tests. Amoni. They're pulling out all this old stuff because what they're doing is validating, and all they're doing is the coping process for the majority of people that have mental illness. All they're doing is coping, and they're catering to what they want to hear. Like these teachers out here, they know what these people want to hear. That's why they got 300,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers. Whenever you got that many subscribers, your purpose on the planet means nothing. Your purpose on the planet means nothing, because once you hear this message, then there's not going to be no more excuses. So that's why they stray away, because they know it's the reality. They know once they hear this message, it's over with. There is nothing else. So that's why they stray away, because everything that they're doing it for their own personal gain. That's why when you have Zarez, when you have made that video, cloaking of the church, that's exactly what it is. It's cloaking of the church. So you're dealing with YouTube, Instagram, now you got TikTok, and you got all these platforms, and what they do, they put out videos as a catering service, because they already know what people want to hear. This is elementary. This is not even college type thinking. This is not college or scientist type thinking. When you know what people want to hear, that's why they get followers like that, because all they're doing is catering to the mental illness process of these people. You know what I'm saying? If they're at a 1, if they're at a 4 mental illness, a 3 mental illness, a 6 mental illness, they're catering to the mental illness service, because they know what they want to hear. Everybody goes through something in life. But when you're dealing with people that's out here on the internet, whatever floats your boat, if that's how you want to make your money, and that's how you want to survive, being a catering service, that's fine. What all floats your boat. But in the future, it doesn't look good for them. Go ahead, brother.
Nope. It doesn't look good for them in the future because when you don't want to take control of your own mental evolution, then that just shows you that you're lazy as hell. Why are you allowing other people?
He said like,
Seriously, why the hell are you allowing other people to think for you when you have the ability as a person, as a grown ass man, as a grown ass woman? I'm talking to you golden sisters and golden brothers out there. You have the ability to basically open up your mind, body, and soul to all these other things. To like for example, if you were in religion first and then you moved into consciousness and spirituality, then that shows you that you're able to move. If you're able to move past religion, then you're able to move past consciousness and spirituality, and then other things like that and so forth. So that just shows you right there, because of those evolutions that you went through, those steps that you had to go through. That shows that there's constant evolution, and that there's no limit to how far that you can extend mind, body, and soul. But ultimately, further going to extend, like I said, talking about the topic here, extended soul extension. Like again, when it comes to bringing forth this topic to the forefront. Again, a lot of people aren't going to be able to tap in because, again, where everything as far as what we've been talking about is moving forward. And a lot of these people's topics, whether you're watching them on YouTube, Instagram, it's all about being comfortable and staying stagnant. Oh, let's keep on focusing about this rapper right here who's been dead for over a week. Or again, like let's keep on, beating the dead horse. Again, life must go on. Life must go on. And again, our minds will ultimately move on. Our souls will move on. And then these bodies will ultimately, they won't move on because, again, they're of the physical. So that shows you that, again, our soul and our minds, or that soul extension, is very vital. Again, we've been through a soul extension right now because, again, our, like what F1 said, our future souls came down to, it extended it back down to the lower dimensions to activate us in the past to move us forward. So because of that's happening, that took place, we have been able to, would you say, speed things up. We sped up our lives. People like, dang, you done moved on since they last seen us, because again, we're not playing around anymore. We know what we have to do. We're moving forward, and that's pretty much it. Moving forward into extended activation and so forth.
yeah, good point. Now, this for everybody on the internet that's internet surfers. Internet surfers going through the cyberverse, going through the ethernet, right? I'm going to use all these people as examples because this is going to show you. This is showing you right here. Now, get your pens out, get your notepads, get your phone out, your iPhone, your Galaxy 18. I don't care. All right. When you've been on the internet for so long, you already know what certain people are going to say. Give you an example. Dealing with the Israelites, right? If you heard the Israelites talk, right? And they're going to say something about Yeshua, Yahushai, Israel. You already know what they're going to say before they even say it. This is the point that I'm making. The meta, the loop process. Go to the Moors. You go to the Moors. If you study the Moors, you already know what they're going to say when they get on the internet, on the ethernet. What they're going to say. You don't need a license to drive your own vehicle. You're descendants of Morocco. You need to get a different identification card. You're not black. It is a meta process. I use them as examples because that's just showing you that there's limitations on the mind. All this stuff has been, these Greco-Roman priests been doing this stuff for thousands of years, looping people's minds, keeping them back. I already know when I see any organization on the internet, or any community on the internet, I already know what they're going to say before they say it, because they already said it. So what's next after that? Think about that for a minute. What's next after that? Right? Dealing with Christianity. Go to the Christians. What they talk about. They talk about Jesus. They talk about sinners. They talk about Being a sinner, everything, we already heard that. We heard that already. So what's that? That's the loop process. That's the meta process. And the mass majority of people that's out here teaching, they caught in that process and don't even know it. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you are Moor. I don't care if you are Israelite. I don't care if you in Islam. I don't care about none of that stuff that you've been taught by the Greco-Roman priests, because it's still a loop process. You're still being looped because you think even dealing with the book of Revelations, that book is not a literal book. It's a coded book. Everything is being looped. And it's so funny because when you're dealing with the Futurtarians, we be on the internet and we'll see somebody, they might be an Israelite more, or they might be Islam. We already know what you're going to say. It's the same thing. It's like you might as well take the record, put it on there, put the record on, and just put it on repeat. Because what's after that? What's after that? When people start putting faith into the crust of the earth. Okay, yeah, we from America. You know what I'm saying? We know that. We know we from America. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with the Olmecs and everything, and you know, dealing with the Moors when they left Spain, they came over here. We already know all that. What's next after that? See, their minds can't go past that. You know why? Because they're dealing with doctrines and they're dealing with books, the meta symbol, the 2 zeros. So you have to go past that. Once you go past that, you'll find a source. Where the source is, futuristic souls coming through the portal, 1111. Going back to 1111, and futuristic souls coming through the portal, putting everything on the forefront. So that's why me and Zarez was talking about a joke. I said, if we debate somebody, we're not going to debate y'all, because how you going to debate intel? It's not going to work. Y'all dealing with information, we dealing with intel. Like that's just like suicide. So I told Zarez, I said, if we go to a debate, I'll say, it don't matter who we debate. Any organization, I'll say 4 words and then sit down, and then we'll still win. Because you're dealing with intel and not information.
Yep. That's why, again, we're not wasting our breath trying to, again, go back and forth with these people who are bothered and who are, I guess, offended because we're talking about moving forward. They're so offended and they're so, what you say, salty. They're so salty that, again, you know, they don't want to see, you know, people move past their beloved books. They don't want to see, you know, people extend past these doctrines that they, you know, have basically invested their whole lives in, or their, you know, better part of their future lives in. But there's the future when you're constantly looped in mentally and what you say physically with books. That's why, again, we are mentally free, mentally able to extend, soulfully able to extend, because we're not trapped by the meta. Even though we utilize the meta, but we're not trapped by the meta. We're not governed and ruled by the meta. We can extend mentally and soulfully into the upper dimensions, and again, not have to worry about, again, you know, our ideas, or again, our whole identity, or who we are as a people, basically being transcribed to us by a artificial source, when we can tap into the natural source, again, the soul force, that extended, which is an activational energy that's coming down to the planet, we've tapped into that, and that's why we're able to move on one accord. That's why we're able to extend mind, body, and soul into the future. And again, that's why right now we're just sitting back and laughing at you motherfuckers. We laughing at the ones who, again, you know, come over here and who are offended by this message. Because again, you know, how can you say that you're about the future and you want to attack this? How can you sit up there and say that you're about the future and you want to attack the growth and collaboration and collectivity of this council here in U.N.O.N.C. Futurtarians? You got to be fooled.
Yep, straight council movement. That's why when these teachers come over here, because they still got the individual mind frame in their head. That's why they're not building nothing. See, we over here building for real. People talk about it. They try to give solutions, but they go back to self. The only thing you need to be dealing with self is your soul. That's it. Everything else don't mean nothing. You dealing with self. Going to work, being independent. That's not going to move you forward unless your soul's activated. That's the only thing you need to be dealing with self. So that's why these teachers, when they come out here and they teach, it's like they're catering to everybody's mental illness. Because these teachers know that they got mental. Now we back from the future, man. So we putting everything on the forefront. That's why they don't come over here, because they know exactly what they're doing. They catering to their mental illness. They know what they want to hear. They want to hear spirituality. They want to hear chakra points. They want to hear about astral projection. They want to hear about flat Earth. They want to hear about the stars, astrology. They want to, man, all that shit, man, is old as fuck. It's old. Can't no teacher on the planet argue with us about that. No philosopher, no doctor, nobody that's been teaching in goddamn college for fucking 10 years. They come over here, they're going to get bodied. It's just that simple, man. We're not playing no games, man, because we from the future. And I keep telling people we from the future, and they think that we exaggerate. And that's why they don't come over here, because how the fuck you going to go against intelligence? You can't go against intel. You can go against information. Go back and look at were you dealing with with Sonetta when he was doing all those debates, right? It was information against information. All those debates. Go back and look at Sonetta's Sonetta. He's from New York. You can Google him or whatnot, and everybody was talking about information, going back and forth about information, looking like some damn clowns. They might as well just put on a damn. Well, some of them did have Dragon Ball Z outfits on, but they might as well put on a clown suit and just you know what I'm saying, and just go back and forth about information, because that's what they were doing. Wasn't nobody bringing nothing next. Everybody was going into some old doctrine and old book, dealing with debates. It moved and served no purpose till this day. Why does it serve no purpose, AF1? It's because look at the situation that the golden race is in right now. Same situation. So all these teachers is what? Full of shit. They're actually full of shit.
Like we said, that fucking bullshit, that BS system, belief system that they are tapped into. But yeah, ultimately, great breakup, brother F1, because like I said, like that shit hits so, like I said, it hits home. But a lot of people gonna sit up there and ignore this reality bombs being dropped by the collective council. Because again, like I said, if you haven't heard that video, that podcast that I put out talking about correction, why we are able to set forth the judgment and what you say balance on the planet, because again, we have to correct our minds, bodies, and souls forth. Again, that is soul growth in action, or what you say solar growth, or what you say that core growth in action. Us being able to go within ourselves and again let go and what you say drop all of that which has held us back mentally, soulfully, and physically. So once you do that, once you go through that correction, then again everything becomes more easier. You can begin to correct your mind and correct your focus on what's more important, and that's dealing with the soul extension, your soul evolution, your soul evolvement into the upper dimension. So again, extended soul extension by way of the Futurtarians, U.N.O.N.C moving forward. Again, this is the Next Nuclear Radio Show, U.N.O.N.C, bringing forth next nuclear ideas and conversations to what you say, bring forth the evolution and extension of the 200 rising. Again, our future ones, our future bloodlines, all being ones, because again, we're the ones that caused the first shockwave. We're the first rift that will be the, progenitor to all the other, what you say, facets of evolutionary rifts that take place after us, like that rock that falls into a pond. That initial first wave, or were the cause for all of the other puddles, or what you say ripples, to basically keep on going and going and going. That's all through evolution. That's all through extension. Go ahead, brother F1.
Yeah, going back to the reset, going back to the one, the first wave, the one, the reset. It's going back to the reset. See, when you're dealing with people that's out here, and there's a lot of information there's a lot of information that's on a ping pong table, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. How you gonna go back and where's the term back and forth come from? That came from our ancestors. When you're dealing with when our ascendants used to come through the portals. That's where the term back and forth came from, because they used to come back here and go back to the fourth dimension, the next dimension, because each dimension they had to go through because everything's connected. That's where the term back and forth comes from. They used to come back here and they used to go back to the fourth dimension, back and forth. See, all this stuff is being broke down, man. You can't Google this stuff. You can't go into a Webster dictionary and get this, man. You can't go sit down at your college professor's class and get nothing like this. This is all from the future. Dealing with the Futurtarians, and we're going to keep breaking stuff down because it's getting easier and easier, because the sun's getting hotter and hotter. Them codes is spitting out through the sun. And when you're dealing with, there was one teacher on the internet, and she was talking about the light code, dealing with the light code system. Yeah, she's right. She's right. She was talking about light codes. Yeah, when she was talking about the light codes, she was right about the light codes. But the light codes, you got solar codes and you got light codes. Like she actually admitted that she was tapped into the light codes. What's the light? Right? The light is artificial intelligence. The light is artificial intelligence. Look at the solar system, not the solar system. Look at the galaxy. When you see something that's in the galaxy and has a big light system, it's either dealing with ether, gas, electrodes, electrons, or solar. It's not dealing with nothing artificial, right? So when you see, like, I'm gonna use this as an example. When you see the moon and you see certain planets that are in the solar system, the reason why you see them because they're feeding off the second energy, the first energy, which is the sun. That's why you can see them. So then when you tap into that, all right, Zarez, I'm gonna go because I wanted to do this live about rock stars. I'm finna break down the rock star real quick. I know we on extended soul, but I'm finna go into the rock star.
Go ahead, brother, break it down.
So then, when you're dealing with looking up into the solar system, looking up into the galaxies, and looking up into the universe. The energy, if it's not a sun, you're dealing with second power energy, because you want to be able to see Jupiter, Saturn, you want to be able to see Neptune, none of those planets if the sun wasn't beaming and shooting and directing that light off, not even light, that solar beam, that ray, that Ra, deflecting off of that. So what happens? It hits that rock and then it comes to the planet so you can see it, because without the sun you won't be able to see nothing dealing with the solar system. You'll still be able to see the stars in the sky. You'll still be able to see them because they're dealing off second energy. It's not first. That's why when you're dealing with counting in seconds, that's why the people on this planet, they count in seconds. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, because they dealing off the rock star. What is a rock star, AF1? That's why they call these celebrities rock stars, because they're not dealing with the sun. They're dealing with lunar energy. What is a star in the sky? It's a rock. There's no soul. There's no energy. It has to feed off the sun. That's why they call them rock stars. Lunar energy, the moon. What is the moon? The moon is a rock. And where is it at? It's in space. So what makes that? A star. So what energy does that deal with, AF1? It deals with lunar energy. Second. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. 4 seconds. 5 seconds. 6 seconds. It's supposed to be 1 1, 1 2, 1 3, 1 4, 1 5, 1 6, 1 7. That's the real galactical code system. See, Rockstar. That's why when they push, they got that. What's that one song? Party like a rock. Party like a rock star. Party. You know they don't say nothing about the sun. But is this solar worship? Are we worshiping the sun? No. We acknowledge the sun. There's a difference. We don't worship the sun. We acknowledge the sun because we understand if this sun was to implode and not set off a supernova, this planet will be dead in 6 months. You can Google that, since y'all like to Google everything on Siri, Google, and Alexa. Google that. The planet will be dead in 6 months. Break it down to rock star. That's why they push these entertainers and all that stuff dealing with rock stars. That's why they don't call them solar stars. Why don't you call them solar stars? I'm just going to call them rock stars. Why? Because it tapped into the lunar energy. What's that? Dealing with the lichens, dealing with vampires, dealing with everything that has to deal with that lower chakra frequency. Right? And then what we do, we come back from the future and put everything in the forefront. So that's why they said rock stars is because lunar energy. They want you focused on the moon energy. Anything that's in the solar system that doesn't have a magnetic core that can actually channel and shoot out codes to your mind to be uncoded. So break it down to rock star. That's why they call these celebrities rock stars. They don't call them solar stars. They call them rock stars for a reason, because everything has been put in place. They already know that the rock is second. The sun is first. So why would they put you first? They're always going to put you second.
Yep, that's why if you Google this, but they have a theory, it's a belief system called heliocentrism. So that basically that's why if you were in school and you remember that they put the sun being at the center of the universe, or the center of our galaxy, pretty much, because to their knowledge and to their understanding, they kind of, what you say, saw that the sun is the primary source, but they don't understand that our primary sun here is tied to other suns, other gas masses, for example, here in our galaxy, there's a sun or a star that's, what you say, a lot bigger than our primary sun here. It's called the pistol star, but that in general, that particular sun has so many different, what you say, planets around that particular space, because again, it's a source for, what you say, higher cosmic intelligence or higher intel that is ultimately being pumped into our galaxy and so forth. So again, when it comes to how we are able to dimensionally leap or dimensionally extend, we will dimensionally extend and leap through these stars, through the suns, those portals, those different gateways that will allow us to be able to traverse and pull in more intelligence. Again, being able to, what you say, pull from the next dimension and extend mind, body, and soul.
Yep, go back. Okay, because there's multiple portals within the universe. Multiple portals. You're dealing with black holes. You're dealing with black holes. You're dealing with wormholes. There's multiple portals. Now, go look at your skin. Go to your skin. What do you have in your skin? You have pores. What are the pores? The pores are circles. What do? They take in and they shoot out. They're pores, right? What does a pore mean? Portal. Pores, in and out. That's why when I said, man, when our souls came through the portal, because everything was already set in place, dealing with the galactical code system, everything was set in place already, man, when everything was made. That's why when they called it portals, they didn't know that there was at that time, I don't know, they might have knew, they might not, I don't know, but everything's being broke down in this day and time when you're dealing with portals. Porting what? What are you porting? You're porting intel, portals. Anybody that comes through a portal, they're a highly advanced being coming back down to the three-dimensional realm in a three-dimensional body with a futuristic soul. And they're coming down with highly advanced technology, man, manipulating atoms, electrodes, electrons, DNA, all that shit. They're manipulating that shit because when they come here, they have to have control. They're going to control everything. That's why you're dealing with these dead zones, man. These dead zones have portals in them. And they already came back. And they came back and put the orders out. What was the orders they have won? That shit classified. That shit classified, man. You ain't over here. You ain't gonna know. So dealing with the pores. That's why you got pores in your skin. That's why they call them pores. Because it shoots out. Like, all right, if you, like you had said, brother, that you had a situation.
Wait, what happened? Were you still going? Hello? Okay, so I guess his mic might have went out. So furthermore, to extend on what he was talking about, I'm gonna, what you say, just give a little bit of intel about portals, for example, from my point of view and my perspective. But I live in Area 51, so I live out here in Las Vegas, Paradise, Nevada. So ultimately, again, I've captured so many different. Hello?
Right. You don't have to worry about the JB.
Wait, hold on.
You don't have to.
I think your mic cut out. Could you repeat what you said?
You said what now?
Your mic cut out for a second. I think your mic was like dead for like a whole minute. So go over what you just said to go. Hello? I was basically saying just basically,
Yeah,
yeah. hmm
can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Okay, I just moved my phone. My phone was somewhere else, but yeah, just manipulating the portal system, because like it's so funny because when you're dealing with these doctrines, they always talk about spaceships and they always talk about crafts landed and UFOs. That's three-dimensional, highly advanced beings. That's who they are. They live in a three-dimensional realm just like you, but they don't come down here and mess with us because we're not highly advanced like them. Like they might come down here and be like, you know what? The portal won't open back up to such and such, this and that. So we're going to come down here and charge our spaceship and dip the hell out. That's three-dimensional beings. I'm talking about highly advanced 13-dimensional beings and down all the way to 13, all the way to the fifth and fourth dimension. They don't use portals. They don't use spaceships. They use portals. They might come through a portal with a craft. They might come through a portal with a craft, but that portal, that craft is the craft is highly advanced. They're highly advanced, but they're not finna travel through space through light years. The reason why the light year code has been locked is because when you go do research on this, since y'all like to Google a lot of stuff, go Google going the speed of light and dealing with the particle collider. The particle collider, where they can't go the speed of light, they can only go 9.99999. They almost can get to the 1, but they can't get to the 1. It's like that for a reason. Go ahead, brother.
Yep. So when it comes to like these different portals, like I said, especially like where I stay at, I stay out here near Area 51, where it's a big portal site out here. A lot of people think it's the government has all of these different experiments and shit. No, they're up there puppy guarding a portal, multiple portals out here. There are several portals that I know for sure have opened up recently in the past couple months. But again, based on the videos that I've shown you all on my YouTube channel, again, if you haven't seen the video that I shared, again, there was this outer dimensional energy or intelligence that I captured. So again, that further validates, but again, fuck validation, because I know what I saw, and we all saw what we saw, and we all feel what we are feeling, which is this extended soul force that's going to keep moving us forward and keep on, what you say, allowing us to evolve as that solargy, as that collective council moving forward. We're bringing forth the judgment. We're bringing forth this correction. Again, that core soul, that core growth, or that soul growth in action. Again, we're going to keep continuously growing as we continue to move forward on that one frequency, and being on one accord that allows for that one frequency to keep on amplifying and being, what you say, represented and influencing others, because they're like, well, how are they able to come together and do this podcast and broadcasting, do this broadcast together? Because again, we have that synchronized frequency. We are all synchronized light particles, light projections that have now brought itself and brought forth, what you say, this activation down to the planet. And people are only going to see more and more of this taking place, especially of the golden race, because our children are only going to be way more hyperactivated than us. I would say hyperactivated. Hyperactivation, what you say, is a more rapid pace of being able to process the solar rays and intel that's coming down to the planet, by way of, again, further opening up your mind, body, and soul, becoming hollow. People have said being hollowable, and we understand what hollow means. Again, you're hollow, meaning, again, you're neutral to the where, again, you're not positive or negative, which is going to pull you from being able to stop, which will pull you from not being able to tap into the activation rays.
Yep. I'm glad you hit that. Positive and negative. Going back to the breaker. You already know I was finna hit that, Zarez. You already know I was finna hit the breaker up. Going back to the breaker, positive and negative. What's that? That's the meta. Going back to Facebook, that's the meta. Shout out to Facebook for changing it to meta, because this has to be done. This has to be done to move the planet forward, because without us, this planet can't move forward. All this technology that's been placed in the solar system cannot be activated without us. They will put their hand on there and it will not get activated. We put our hands on there and it will be activated. Dealing with the activation of the DNA code, right? Positive and negative. Why is there a breaker? Why do you have 3 prongs inside your electrical system in your house? You got positive. Back in the day they only had 2. Now they got 3. Why? Because everything's evolving. Right, the breaker. What's that? Okay, the breaker shuts off everything so it don't out circuit your whole electrical house system. Yeah, we know that. But the breaker, when you're dealing with mental power, when you're dealing with positive and negative, that's why everybody be like, oh, I had a positive day, had a negative day, had a positive day, had a negative day. It's like we don't deal with that because we the breakers. We just have a day of extension. Have a day of extending the soul. That's it. That's all that matters. So when you deal with positive and negative, it's the breaker. You cannot have positive without the negative. If you take a battery, right, and you cut off the positive, you will have no power. So what is positive and negative? If you cut off the tip of the battery where the positive a connection is, and then if you cut that off where there's no metal there where the electricity can move through the battery, it won't work. So why you gotta have positive and negative to get energy? Because that's where we live in a positive and negative energy society. See, but when you switch your mind to the breaker, you break all that and you just keep moving forward as a laser, man, the speed of light.
Yep. Like the speed of light, like that laser, we have to keep on focusing our minds, our bodies and souls on the bigger picture, extending the bigger picture. That is evolving ourselves out of this dimension and to continuously evolve into the upper and extended dimensions next now. That's why, again, we're not caught up about what's happening and taking place in this world presently and in the past because it doesn't matter. Like this person, Big Chief Thunder asked the question, what was the question? Every moment, no, he kind of, I think that person said every moment of my life is deja vu. And you mentioned before deja vu exactly what it is. I think before, but that won't happen to you. But, from what I've, picked up on deja vu, a lot of that deja vu and like I was saying, it's because the past and present are being played out simultaneously to get us to move into the future. Because again, if you're like I said, that's kind of like how I was saying why the past and present world is being put on pause is because again, that stagnant energy it's basically acting as a sign telling people to move forward. Again, that's the only way to move forward is again, once you have, get to that point of being, you feel like you're stagnant or you're bored, that ultimately is because again, you have to move forward or you have to raise up a degree or extend to a different dimensional, what you say. So furthermore, again, that's why it's important that we focus on, again, what's really important in these times. And that is, again, being about something, being purposeful, and again, acting on, that, what you say, that purposeful, role that we have to play. And that is being of the council because nobody else wants to be a part of the council. I mean, no one else wants to come in and council because everyone who's on that individual mind frame feels like they shit don't stink. So they feel like that they can't be checked or can be put in place. We're over here, we're open to basically being evolved and basically, being able to extend and grow amongst other activated ones and other extended minds. That's why, everything as well as, like I said, the pride, ego has to shed. That has to shed so we can go into a different dimensional mind frame, a whole different dimensional mind frame and our soul being able to extend to a different dimension. So that's why it's important that, again, the extended soul extension is really a real thing because we know that from where we were several years ago and where we're at now, that our souls have definitely extended, right or wrong. I'm just saying, like that's very, very prevalent because we have extended. We have been able to grow and what you say extend to that next dimensional what you say mind frame, and even in the physical, our aura shields have our very, very bright and impactful. We can go into a room and again light up that whole room full of what you say radiation, that those rays that we are actively pulling in at nighttime and during the daytime. So that's why we're going to keep extending the mind, body, and soul into the future, because again, we are purposeful. We made ourselves purposeful by again answering the call, and that call was for counsel. That call was to counsel. That's the answer. That's the solution. It's counseling, us coming together and counseling and moving forward, and again bringing forth the balance, that activation of balance onto the planet. So again, this is the Next Nuclear Radio Show. We're tapping in. Again, us vegetarians. Check out brother AF1. If you want to add something else, you can if you want to. As far as, like I said, continuously building on a topic, talking about extended souls extension. So go ahead, brother F1. Okay. So yeah. So furthermore, like I said, go ahead. Go ahead, brother F1.
Yeah. This mic just like is doing his own thing right now. But I'm gonna close out with this, dealing with the council, man. The council is always going to be at the top of the pinnacle, dealing with mind power and dealing with situations. Now, when you have a multi-millionaire have to sit his ass down in front of the council to get his shit together, there is nothing else. There is nothing else on the planet, man. So if you feel you are one and you feel you want to come over here, you know what I'm saying? Our doors are open. We come because when you come over here, we already know if you're in the future with us or not. So that's the whole thing. Like, this is serious. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with the Sirius star system. That's why they say the coronavirus is a serious virus. Well, did it come from the Sirius star system? Think about that for a minute. So yeah, I just want to close out with that, brother, man. Peace, power, and soul. Extending the soul. Extending the soul, man. Keeping it moving forward. Not messing with these doctrines and everything, because every time somebody comes from any organization or anybody that's in an organization or anybody that's dealing with something, we already know what y'all going to say. That pretty much, that's sad. That's a sad feeling, dealing with mind power. So I just want to close out with that, man. Peace, power, and soul. Hit up the brothers Zareyas, U.N.O.N.C. U.N.O.N.C. on Facebook, Instagram, and also on TikTok. It's on TikTok also. And also the Futurtarians Activation channel, dealing with AF1. If you want to hit me up on Facebook, you can go on AFONE, Futurtarians. And, Bill, you want to be a part of the council? We here. Peace, power, and soul.
Yep, and that was brother AF1. Check him out on his channel, Futurtarians Activation channel, as well as on Facebook, AFONE. That is brother AF1 Vegetarian, AFONE Vegetarian. So with that, we are U.N.O.N.C Futurtarians moving forward. So again, this is the Next Nuclear Radio Show, bringing forth next nuclear ideas and conversations to extend the right ones to 200 rising, moving forward into the extended dimensions, upper and outer dimensionally. So as we traverse into these upper dimensions, again, our focus is on the bigger picture, and again, extending, growing, and pulling in what's next, and fostering in what you say the evolution of the planet and of all the beings on the planet, as far as us, because we know that we are the guiding luminaries that will that have basically set forth what you say the next intelligence on the planet. So again, our number is 1111, because again, we are ones walking with ones, walking with ones, and ones, 11s portaling with other 11s, ones and other ones portaling with the other ones upper and outer dimensionally. So with that being said, check us out next Wednesday on PODBEAN at the same time, 6:30 p.m. PST, 8:30 p.m. CST. So with that being said, check us out on Facebook, YouTube, again, Futurtarians Activation Channel, and U.N.O.N.C, the United Nation of Next Nuclear. So with that being said, peace, power, soul, and activation. One love.